that is it.
Want to get in these trenches? We got a lot to talk about.
No, not really. I really don't.
You know what's funny too?
I know. I don't want to talk about any of these topics. I'm gonna be serious.
I really was avoiding the Andrade stuff the whole like weekend.
Yeah, right.
Long we've been doing it because like I don't really care about none of this stuff. This means nothing to me. And then it just kept getting more and more shit just getting involved in that. Like, okay, now we have to talk about it.
Like from like Monday to Tuesday, you know, I kept seeing like Andrade stuff, or I just kept seeing more and more Andrade stuff, and I was just like, is this the only shit we got going into Wednesday? An Andrade Twitter storyline?
Yeah,
that's
disgruntled.
Like seriously, that is the only shit. Moxley's not tweeting, Hangman's not tweeting, like Danielson, anybody in prominent storylines aren't tweeting anything. Tony Khan is like, talking about scissoring on a fucking bar stool. I was like, is this really all we have going into Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, they even added a few matches like in the last like 2 days. We should probably go through the timeline though. At some point, Andrade was on some kind of Mexican wrestling medium. I don't exactly know what it was, but it was translated via, I believe, Cultaholic. And he was talking about how he's very, it's kind of this disgruntled employee, which is something that a few wrestlers have kind of gone through, openly spoken about in AEW recently, and just a little disgruntled. And he wanted more. He explained just since Rush has been signed that he has even more of a battery in his back to really get going, and then that was kind of the main thing. But at some point during the interview, he also spoke on, a match he had with Sammy Guevara, I believe, or something like that. Sammy Guevara complaining about getting hit too hard, and Andrade like, where I'm from, if I hit you hard, you hit me hard back. You know what I mean? Talking about these new age, these young kids.
As a fan standpoint, or just like when I heard that, normally, I listened to a whole bunch of wrestlers on the podcast before, and it was just like, if somebody hits you hard, you hit them hard back as a sign of, fucking relax.
Yeah.
Or, when you guys are in the turnbuckle, just be like, hey, man, he's up. Or whatever shit,
Yeah, but I guess Sammy was crying about it.
He got skinny-ass arms. He can't hit that.
And then, so Sammy took offense to this, and then he had words for Andrade. I don't have the tweets on hand, but it's basically like, yo, you a bitch. All this stuff. Andrade was like, yo, I said all this stuff to your face, though. Like, so what's up? And then he was like, well, you were a favor hire. This and that. You weren't even supposed to be here.
The favorite Andrade was crazy.
Which is crazy. And then Andrade was like, all right, bet. I'll see you on Wednesday. Now, at this point, I'm still thinking this is a work. I'm saying this is one of them work shoot bullshits they've been doing for the last, 6 months or so. I'm over it. I still, at this point, wasn't paying attention to it. Until about 7:55 p.m. Wednesday night, TMZ of all media posts, there was an altercation backstage. Oh, but even before that, I didn't take that back. A couple hours before that, Tony Khan tweets, "Hey, that match versus career match that we're gonna have on Friday, which is a whole other what the fuck is that? That's a whole other thing." But the match versus career match that we're having on Friday, it's not happening anymore. So Ted going to be in a trios match for Brody King. I mean, not Brody King, Brody Lee. I said, oh, okay. So at this point, I'm thinking, wait, this really happened? Did they really fight in the back? And then TMZ opens up and said, yeah, there was an altercation. Punches were thrown between Andrade and Sammy Guevara. And then at first, initially, the report says that Andrade and Sammy Guevara were both sent home. But as we saw on the show tonight, Sammy was very much there. Now, Andrade was not mentioned or seen at all. So take that for what you will. But yeah, that's kind of the timeline of what happened. It all happened within 3 days. And then, Cyrus, what are your initial thoughts on all this?
I'm really glad you held that down way longer than I could get a cup of water. I could have filled up my whole goddamn Brita filter joint with how you held that down. So shout out to you for that.
It's not a little time. I'm getting used to this podcasting thing.
I not to, talk shit or, downplay all the hard work that you just did right there. But I can just truly and really say, I want to be honest. don't give a shit. Like, I don't care. Like, when Andrade and Sammy started going at it, I was just like, well, you guys don't have a TV on storyline. I don't care about another week of work, you know, work shoot bullshit on Twitter. And these niggas wasn't using GIF like House of Black was using all goddamn week. I don't give a shit about this. Like, every time I see an AEW wrestler tweet, I'm just going, I groan. I was like, come on now. Yeah. I'm sort of glad that a lot of other people are kind of like getting tired of the jig too. Is just like, why don't you guys just tell good stories on TV rather than having to resort to Twitter on all this shit? And I'm just like, you niggas are behind. Y'all trying to catch up to me.
Yeah, right.
Like, this shit has, like, this has always been an issue on AEW. I think, like, you know, kind of like since last year, and it's only been, you know, sort of propelled, you know, I would say since last year. And it's because that you fuckers liked it so much.
Yeah, I think people were really like into it when it was the MJF stuff, and then kind of the Eddie Kingston CM Punk type of deal, and then at some point, I think me and you have both talked about it multiple times on this podcast. At some point, you know, people are gonna get their feelings hurt, and it getting to that point where people are getting their feelings hurt. Punk had his feelings hurt. MJF had his feelings hurt. Now Andrade had his, Sammy, all of them. Like, these work shoots, yeah, they work, but like when you're like, also when they're with a work shoot, there's two parts of it. There's a work, and then there's a shoot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So at some point, the shoot be hurting more than the work. The shoot hurts more than the work. Like, so it becomes very convoluted. Now you're alienating fans who have no idea what's going on Twitter. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? People were expecting to see a match versus career match on Friday, and now they're not getting it. And, you know, not explain why Andrade is not there all of a sudden. It's just like, what the hell, man? It's not, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, it's I don't know if it's stupid, it's dumb, it's not beneficial. Dumb. It's not benefiting anybody. That's the problem. And I thought when the media scrum thing was going on, and people were just like, well, during the media scrum thing, where, you know, a lot of publications were like drip feeding content and stuff like that, you see people or info on the thing, you know, Fightful and Wrestling News Observer, you know, I think it's very much clear that they are the AEW cleanup crew whenever it comes to like PR or like, you know, other silly shit like that. Like, you know, they don't say shit until Tony Khan gives them the word, or, you know, they always trying to, you know, have excuses for him. And then people were just like, nah, man, I love it. It's so WCW to be controlling the media like this. Huh? You fucking serious? Mm-hmm. This shit is a joke. You could not get me to care about Sammy Guevara ever. And then you've done a massive disservice for Andrade. So I truly don't give a shit what he does. To me, this work shoot was more about Andrade just being like, man, I can't wait to leave this motherfucker. He was, I feel like Andrade was trying to pull the Bobby Fish move, because he feels like that might be the only way to get out of this. Amen. And unfortunately, I think he's too much more valuable than Bobby Fish, so I don't think Tony Khan's going to let him go. He's probably just going to get suspended for a long time, and, you know, probably get a fine or something. From a slight source, it kind of got what is it? Chat was moving a mile a minute. When it dropped, I think it has been said that Andrade has been fired, but we'll wait. We'll see what happens with that. We don't know about the last batch of people what their status is at this point. So who even knows? Yeah, they might not say anything. We'll see what happens tomorrow morning when Fightful finally gets the okay to say something. Yeah. Also, we don't know the full story yet. I mean, by the time this is out, we'll probably know. But I do think it's a little telling that Sammy Guevara was still able to stay on the show and Andrade was sent home. So I do kind of wonder what really happened backstage.
Yeah,
because the initial report said that Sammy threw the first punch. That's what the initial report said. I don't know how true that is.
I didn't read the TMZ report. Yeah, he just pushed him.
Okay.
I think that Sammy Guevara wanted to smoke. Like Andrade like started it by like saying shit on the podcast, but Sammy is clearly the aggressor here by acting out. And yes, he should be punished, but he's not. He's in the main event of this fucking show.
Yeah.
So, Sammy, what is it? Neil said Sammy Guevara knows where the bodies are buried.
He knows something, man.
This is the. I think it's crazy, but
the second altercation in 2 months now.
Yeah, like, what is it? Justin was like, is Sammy Guevara really worth this trouble? Like, I really don't even think he's that good of a wrestler or a good promo.
Or
like, he just seems to kind of, he kind of just seems to be a unlikable person backstage. That's like all he really got going on for him.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he got a pretty punchable face. I feel Eddie Kingston and Andrade. That's all I got. I'm over this bullshit, man. Get this shit out of here.